Hey friends, welcome to Quantum Acacias. My name is Dee Dee and I am so glad to be here with you guys. I'm glad that we found each other. If you are new to the channel like most people are right now, make sure that you do go ahead and subscribe. It's also fun because it's 1019 and I associate 1019 and 119 with the ancestors. So we're gonna do another adventures in the astrals today, and this is actually gonna be a 3-part series. I'm not sure if I'm gonna put them out consecutively because I'm kind of doing videos and then sometimes I don't put them out for a week or 2 weeks or a month. At some point I will get consistent and it'll be real time, but just with kids and life and stuff like that. Sometimes I don't get them out, relatively quickly. But anyways, but I'm going to make this one a 3-part series and then make sure that I put it in the Adventures in the Astrals playlist. So this is going to be the story of the red heifer. Okay. And this one is very, very interesting, and I'm trying to see if I should start at the beginning or if I should talk about which dream is kind of coming up the most right now. I think I'll start with the beginning, and then don't want to go out of order. Does it make more sense to go in order? I don't know. I feel like it makes more sense to kind of go in order. So, okay. So back in 2021, I ended up doing this very fun Akashic Records reading, okay? Now, in this Akashic Records reading, my reader, who's a really great woman, she leads you through these visualizations and then you tell her what you see in your Akashics, okay? So what I was seeing in my Akashics at first was very interesting. So I had been previously doing these meditations to create an astral temple. If you're not aware of an astral temple, just a quick kind of description of it is that an astral temple is a place that you can create in your mind as a safe space. And as you focus on it and you really hone in on it, eventually you will be able to see it in your dreams. And then even when you meditate or you get a quick moment, you might start to see it. And the idea is that the more that you give it detail, that you make it consistent, that you can actually create it in the astrals. And when you astral travel or astral project, you'll be able to go there. And it basically is like having a home in the astrals. A lot of the time people go to sleep, we just get pulled into dreams and they're very random. And so this is a way of kind of grounding yourself in the astrals, to have a specific place to go so that you can gain awareness, to not be pulled everywhere, and then to start being more directional with where you go, and then more intentional with your experiences. So that's it in a nutshell, okay? And I'm bringing that up because my astral temple at that point was a glass pyramid that I wanted in my forever home backyard. And so I would meditate in this pyramid. So anyways, in my Akashic record reading, that was the first thing that I saw, was myself in this astral temple. And it's a triangle one, and it's in the backyard, and it's glass on the outside, but it is temperature controlled. And I was using it as a meditation pyramid. So I was telling her that, and she was like, okay, perfect. So we're going to use that as your vehicle to get to the memories that are serving you right now. So as she was telling me that, and I was kind of moving this astral temple around, the temple actually started to form into a sort of teepee. And I was like, oh, okay, it's forming into a teepee or something. And she's like, okay, perfect. So I start describing the teepee for her. And as I'm doing that, I realized that I am outside of the tempe and there is a guy on the ground who, to me, appears to be dead. And so I'm telling her that, and she's like, okay, well, let's see if he's dead or, like, let's figure out what's going on. So I go walk towards him, and I realize that, in fact, which is crazy, I realized that he is actually not dead at all. He is laying there, and he is actually astral projecting. Okay, it was the craziest thing. I was just like, no, he's just very advanced at astral projecting, because he ended up coming to talk to me. And I was like, how are you here and there? Are you a spirit? And he was like, no, I'm astral projecting right now. And so I'm talking to him, and I realized that he is my dad in this lifetime. But it is also very clear that we are also interacting with each other in a interactive way. And so it's a past life memory, but it's also interactive in some type of way, which I feel like there's also this kind of air that this is very rare that it happens, and it can be taboo to do this. And so all these kind of thoughts are going through my mind. I'm talking to him, and that's when I realized that I am a man talking to him. I'm not a woman, okay? And so as I'm talking to him, I'm remembering that I am some type of Lakota person, like a Lakota person. And what I saw was that, like, my dad at that time was like a Lakota chief or Lakota person, like a person in position of authority in some type of way, okay? And so there's some type of initiation ceremony that's coming up where he's going to pass on traditions and possibly chiefdom or something to me, okay? And so as I'm talking to him, I realized, like, I kind of see like a few days go by, and there's kind of this initiation that's going on and stuff. And then we get to the final day of the initiation, which is where everyone around is talking and laughing, having a good time. Let me go back a little bit because I forgot this detail. So on the first day when he was astral projecting and talking to me, I saw him go back to his body. And when he went back to his body, we were both in the tent, in the teepee, and he was talking to me, and he had this pipe next to him. Okay, so it was like actually it there's actually some type of stand that was kind of like a bowl or something. It was kind of like a bowl, and there was some type of substance in the bowl that you could either smoke it, or it was an incense or something like that. I can't exactly remember, but then I saw the pipe at some point around there too. So I don't know if, like, the substance in the bowl is what was, like, helping him to astral project. That's what I'm assuming. But I wanted to say that as he was doing that, there was a red heifer sitting next to him, like laying on the ground next to his kind of like version of a couch. It was like a version of a couch. And I didn't even necessarily like realize she was there at first. Like, my consciousness caught that she was there, but I wasn't really focused on her. But anyway, so I'm talking to him, and like a few days pass, like in the Akashic. So it's like the few days pass in the Akashic, and then we're to the day where it's kind of like the final initiation day. And this is like where the whole kind of crew is there, and everything's going to be passed on. Now, the final part of this initiation ceremony was to slaughter this red heifer. So when I saw her on this day, I was like, oh, that's the same heifer that's, like, I guess been marinating in his house. And so I saw her, and that was like the final part. So it was something about like slaughtering this red heifer that passed the spiritual energy from father to son, okay? And it was like a compounding energy. So it wasn't just the spiritual energy from your dad. It was the spiritual energy from his dad, from his dad, from his dad. So every person who came next got even more powers and abilities and stuff like that, because it was a compounding thing. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not exactly sure, but I think that like after this transference of powers, like the previous chief, like my dad in that life, would like start to decline over the next few months, if not pass away like within a year's time or something. I feel like that was a part of it. I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure though. So anyways, I was having a conflict too, child. I was having a conflict with this because I didn't want to sacrifice her. Now, the interesting thing is that everyone wanted me to do this. Like, my dad wanted me to, the people wanted me to. And it was funny because even the Akashic record reader was like, I think you should do it. And I just couldn't do it. Like, I was just like, I'm not going to sacrifice her. So I ended up like bringing her with me, and I got outcasted. I'm laughing because like in a lot of my, not all of them. Oh, God. Oh, excuse me. And now all of a sudden I'm getting like, 1031 Halloween numbers. I'm getting like stopped up, and I was perfectly fine before this, which is just very interesting. But anyways, why am I getting stopped up all of a sudden? But anyways, nah, child, I didn't forgot what I was talking about. I forgot what part I was talking about. Oh, yeah, how the Akashic record reader also was like, you should slaughter this cow and things like that. I ended up getting, ostracized and stuff because, like, rejecting this initiation was, like, rejecting everything, and it was just, like, a big old scene, so I ended up getting, like, cast out and stuff like that. So, next thing I know, and this part I'm not exactly sure about how it actually went, because, like I said, there was, like, this interactive part of it. But I ended up getting kicked out. The next thing I know, I was seeing myself walking in the desert. And when I was walking in the desert, the cow died. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it was so interesting because it even felt like the cow wanted me to sacrifice her. I'm like, girl, no. Like, I'm saving you from yourself right now. No. And so anyways, but she ended up dying in the desert. And when she died, there was a jinn that appeared. And I mean, I had not really seen a jinn until this moment, but when I saw him, it was unmistakably a jinn. Like, unmistakably. And I hadn't seen one like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like you have this concept of what fairies look like, and you have like genie from Aladdin and stuff like that. But when you actually see it, you know exactly what it is, and you're like, oh yeah, no, this is definitely a jinn. And the other things are kind of like people's, kind of ideas and renditions, and sometimes they work in those constructs, but they also have like how they actually look. And so unmistakably was a jinn that showed up, and like the kind of energy, I would say that the kind of oh god, okay. Ooh, sorry, I must be getting sleepy, child. I gotta go then, because child, I promised my husband we're gonna watch something before bed. Like, I can't get tired yet. Okay, anyways, let me hurry up. Okay, so So he looked like a Ramses on Courage the Cowardly Dog. Not exactly like that, but reminiscent of that, and like the Death Eaters from Harry Potter. So like this kind of tattered, shadowy, hovering type of figure. Now he didn't have like a definable face that I could see, but he did have a hood and he did have a sort of density to him. So he didn't look like, you know, an apparition. He had some density to him. And his eyes were very intense, even though he didn't have like a formed face that I could make out. He definitely did have eyes, and they were very intense. And this was not by any stretch of the imagination necessarily a friendly energy. Okay. Like by any stretch of the imagination. It actually was like a very quiet, intense, rageful energy actually. But I knew that I hadn't really done anything to get any type of wrath or anything. So it's kind of like, you know, like a really angry dog, but they can't bite you because you didn't do anything to get bitten. Do you know what I mean? And so I was okay because I felt like I had some type of remembrance of having interactions with these beings before. And so I was like, okay, just don't make it mad, you know, like just don't make it mad. And so anyways, he was hovering there and he was handing me this like living lava stone. It was the most beautiful stone that I have seen. It was like this beautiful, like oval kind of flat pebble, like the friendship stones kind of. But you could like sit it down, but it was very well rounded, kind of like a crystal in the shape of a loaf of bread, kind of like a mini loaf of bread. And it was this beautiful electric orange, like it literally looked like the color of lava. And then it had white streaks in it and it was marbled. And it was alive. That's what I would say. Like it was, like the colors were moving. The stone was moving, even though it was in the shape of a stone. It was so beautiful. And he was giving it to me, and I knew that he was giving it back to me. So I don't know when he got it and when he snatched it or what, but he had to give it back to me because I did not sacrifice the heifer. I didn't sacrifice her. So he had to give the stone back to me. Now, I'm not sure all of the things with that, like as to why or how I lost the stone at some point. And I'm not exactly sure because at first I thought it was like some type of aspect of my soul, but I don't know if that was necessarily it. I almost feel like it was some type of connection to him specifically. And maybe at some point we had connected or something, and I had like sort of control over the stone. And then I lost the stone, and then he was giving it back to me. I don't know. I'm gonna have to like really kind of see if I can sit in that again. But anyways, and it definitely makes sense because now when I see Jinn, I associate them to volcanoes. They usually come out of the ground near volcanoes. So I was like, yeah, living lava rock, you know, and then they said that their soul or they are souls of smokeless fire. And lava definitely is smokeless fire. It's definitely smokeless fire. And so then, of course, they are also associated to obsidian and obsidian mirrors, which are very intense. And so that was like my first introduction to the red heifer. So I'll definitely be back with probably like 2 or 3 more parts in the red heifer series. It's a very interesting one. So anyways, yeah, make sure that you do subscribe, like the video, share it with a friend, especially if you guys have had jinn interactions, or you've seen these lava stones or have seen them connected to volcanoes, I definitely would like to hear about it. And I just want to reiterate in case someone is finding this because they're interested in jinn, let your friend Dee Dee tell you number one and number two, okay? I don't know what the kind of lore or belief systems were about jinn, like pre-Islamic, okay? Because that counts. I'm gonna tell you the first thing is they are not submissive to humans. Some people have like ideas like that they can like summon the jinn and they can like, manhandle them and all. Don't do that. Please don't do that. They are not, it's not that type of situation. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and they can give you the illusion that you are summoning them and you've got them bound and things like that. But they definitely have a trickster element to them. And the worst thing you want to do is try to summon one or bind one or something like that because it's disrespectful. Don't do it. They are not under human command. Okay? I'm trying to tell you, they are not under human command. That's not a thing. Okay? Don't do it. Be respectful if you're going to do it, which I don't recommend. Okay? And then the second thing I would say is that they are definitely judgment beings. So if they are showing up and you have not talked to them, like you've not called out to them or anything, that could definitely be a sign that in some type of way there is some type of judgment going on around. They're like the bouncers at the underworld club, and you don't want a jinn to grab you. Okay, that's not what we're looking for. Do you know what I mean? That's not what we're going for here. Okay. So I just wanted to say that because I've seen and heard a lot of different things. Especially I used to do like free reading. I used to do free readings on like the psychic subreddit. Oh my goodness. When I tell you, I have heard some things, child. And I literally one day had this woman ask me, she was like, I'll pay you whatever you're looking for, which I was doing them for free anyway, but she's like, I have, like, how much do you know about, like, the infernal world and things like that, which is, usually when people are talking about more of, like, demonology, things like that, like Goetia, like Lesser Keys of Solomon, things like that. And so I was like, I know some things about that, what's your question? Because most people ask questions about love, like 1,000%, 90% of the questions that I answer were about love. And at first I was like, why does everyone want to know so much about love? But now I've come to understand that you really should help people with love, because who you're connected to and in love with or want to get connected to is so essential to your life journey. That's a whole nother story. But anyways, this woman literally was like, I have been trying to summon this demon in my house for how many ever weeks, and I just want to know if it's successful or if there's something else that I should do. And so I had to give her some information on like why you would definitely should not do that. Okay? You shouldn't do that. Summoning and, binding and entrapping. No, please don't do that. Please don't. Especially if you don't really have a clear concept of like, I'll just make like this like kind of distinction between like a demon, in the more traditional sense, and then like a daemon, would say, which is like a lesser spirit than like a god, but it is still a high spirit that can give information. And you have to really know about those things, especially before you start calling on things, because there's many spiritual type of beings. And so if you're not really sure what you're doing, or have like a really set in stone thing that you're trying to do, and especially if it's not really for like really high things, there's a lot of spirits that could answer that call. And if you can't really see them, you don't know what is answering you. So I don't know. I feel like I wanted to say that, but that's what I have for you guys today. I'm sending lots of hugs, lots of love. As always, if you have something to add to the conversation, please put a comment down below. You can also email me if you have any questions. I also do have my Etsy for services and digital spiritual goods in the description box. Make sure you check those out. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.